Can you actually survive in New York City on $50,000 a year, or is that just social media fantasy? If you've seen TikToks of people paying $2,000 for a shoebox apartment, you might think it's impossible. But the real answer is a bit more complicated. Welcome to Broke to Basics, simple money and career tips when you're starting from zero. This video is for educational purposes only and is not financial, tax, investment, or career advice. Numbers are rough estimates and can change, so always double-check for yourself. Let's start with what $50,000 a year really means in your bank account. After federal tax, Social Security, Medicare, New York State tax, and New York City tax, a typical single person might take home somewhere around $3,000 to $3,200 per month. That number will change based on your exact situation and things like health insurance, but we'll use it as a rough guide. Now imagine you just moved to the city. You know you're not getting a Manhattan studio on this salary, so you look for a room in a shared apartment in Brooklyn, Queens, or Upper Manhattan. A realistic rent for a single room in a decent but not fancy place is around $1,100 to $1,500 a month. Let's say you land in the middle at about $1,300. Add your share of utilities and Wi-Fi, which might be another $150, and your housing cost is around $1,450 per month. You still need to get around the city. An unlimited subway pass is roughly $140. Maybe you take the occasional bus or rideshare on top of that, but we'll keep it simple and call transport about $150 a month. So now you're at roughly $1,600 gone, and you've only covered housing and getting around. Next comes food and basic life stuff. If you cook most of your meals at home, buy groceries at normal supermarkets, and don't treat restaurants like a hobby, you might spend around $350 to $450 a month on food. Add a phone bill, toiletries, laundry, and random small purchases, and that line easily reaches $450 to $550. To keep the math easy, picture $500 a month for food and basic essentials. That brings your running total to about $2,100. On many jobs, you'll also have some kind of health insurance cost. If your employer covers most of it, your share might be somewhere between $100 and $200 a month taken out of your paycheck. If you have a good employer plan, it might be less obvious in your monthly budget, but the cost is still there. Let's assume your coverage is decent and you don't have huge extra medical bills every month. So with rent, utilities, transport, food, and basics, your spending might already be somewhere around $2,100 to $2,300 a month. If your take-home pay is about $3,000 to $3,200, that leaves maybe $700 to $1,000 for everything else. Going out, clothes, subscriptions, emergencies, trips home, and hopefully a bit of savings. What does that feel like in real life? It means you probably can't say yes to every invite. You'll need to choose between a big weekend out and saving for that flight, or between eating out 3 times a week and building a small emergency fund. You might keep your nights out to once a week, limit takeout, and treat shopping as something you plan instead of something you do when you're bored. On the upside, you can still enjoy the city. Free events, cheap eats, walks through different neighborhoods, parks, and low-cost hangouts with friends. But let's be honest about the downside. If your rent creeps up closer to $1,500 or $1,600 for a room, your roommates are unreliable, or you have debt payments, the budget gets very tight, very fast. One medical bill, a broken phone, or a last-minute flight can wipe out months of what you thought was extra money. That's why some people on this salary feel like they're always one bad month away from serious stress. So, can you survive in New York City on $50,000 a year? Yes, if you're willing to share housing, live in a not-so-trendy neighborhood, and keep a pretty disciplined budget. You probably won't feel rich. Some months will feel tight. But it's possible to live, enjoy parts of the city, and slowly build a bit of savings if you're careful and intentional. The bigger question is whether you'll feel like you're building the life you want. For some people, $50,000 is a solid starting point. A first job in the city, a way to get experience, build a network, and then push for higher-paying roles. For others, especially with debt or family responsibilities, it may feel like constant pressure with not enough left over. If you want a separate video where I show you an example month-by-month budget for different salaries in New York City, let me know in the comments. You've been watching Broke to Basics, simple money and career tips when you're starting from zero. If this helped you picture what $50,000 a year really looks like in New York, subscribe for more beginner-friendly videos on cost of living, remote work, side hustles, and basic money skills. This video is for educational purposes only and is not financial, investment, tax, or career advice. Always do your own research and consider speaking with a qualified professional before making big money decisions.